That's right.
Amazing, how much you can lighten up a bike, but you might have done a bunch of motor work. But these things, like, these pieces that go against, those are, the exhaust system's got some weight. We didn't change exhaust on our bike, but you could probably lose 10, 15 pounds on the exhaust. The side panels are made out of aluminum. They're pretty heavy. They got insulators on. Make a titanium header system for it. The race system is just, instead of 3 individual pipes, it's just one more. Crankshaft sort of helps you turn the bike instead of fight you.
Yeah.
Well, all the GP bikes have, this crankshaft spins opposite the direction of the tires. I think what happens is when you spin it the other direction, the gyroscopic effect sort of has, when you turn it from side to side, or turn it in this way, it wants to, if it's spinning the
wants
same
to stand the bike up a little bit.
It wants to stand the bike up. You turn it the other way, it helps it go down, helps it lean over.
Okay.
But I know I was reading an article in Road Racing World, and the big problem with the Desmo Sedici in the last few years was it didn't want to turn, The riders complained, especially on tighter tracks. They were losing time in the tighter areas of the track. They had the power and the stability, but so I guess I don't know exactly what they. The engineers of Ducati made the engine a little bit smaller so they could put it into the frame and in a different position, more where the racer guys wanted it. It's easier, and it's been they've been winning races, so I guess it worked out. Suddenly they're doing good on GP.
The power of my bike feels similar, but I think that's because even though this is about 40 horsepower more or 35 horsepower more, the way the torque curve is different.
Yeah, well, that one especially, the Street Triple's cammed a little slightly differently. It's for a little bit more bottom end. That one's actually cammed differently than the Street Triple's a little bit different than the Daytona 675.
Forged, and I think the pistons in the Street Triple are cast.
You got steel liners and aluminum, nickel aluminum in the Daytona, a bunch of stuff like that.
Lightens it up a little bit.
Yeah, they
higher performance.
They spend a little bit more money on the Daytona because the bike's more expensive.
Yeah.
Manufacturers do that a lot. They design into it. When you buy a bike for less money, they have to give you less something somewhere.
Right.
They can't just take the bodywork off of it and put tubular bars. They have to
And the fuel mapping is different. The gearing is different as well too. It's got different gear ratios. I think. Wow, what an amazing
The bike's actually almost like built to be a race bike. The only street bike I've ever seen that has a cassette gearbox. You can, if you pull the engine cover off the other side and take the clutch cover off,
it just pops right out.
You can slide the whole thing with that ring of bolts all the way around the outside. You can pull the transmission, the gear.
Where do you get the cassette? Where do you get the cassettes from?
Well, the cassette is that when this plate right here, like an automobile transmission. That's a gear carrier, so when you pull it out, you've got the entire transmission mounted with a shifter and everything on that plate. So let's say you were if you had a virtual unlimited budget or enough to afford a couple of different transmission setups, you could have gears made up with different ratios, like maybe a different second, so that basically, if you went to a certain track to race, and the rider said, well, the bike's perfect except for second gear needs to be just a little bit taller because I'm using second from turn 1 to turn 2.
Yeah, the difference between first and second on this is really very stark.
Yeah, well, the street transmissions are like that. You've got a low first gear to get you off the line comfortably. There you go. And then beyond that, whereas a racing transmission might have a tall first gear, so they can use, all the gears on a track. But you can take, the cassette gearbox enables you to change individual gear ratios. So like you might change second or change third. GP people and World Superbike people do that. They custom tailor the gears to the track they're on, so they can always have the engine in the right ratio. It's kind of like a bicycle racer, but can build custom, gear fluxes.
Wow.
But in order to make an engine really racy, you don't want to have to drop the engine out and change. Like I suppose if you're if you're racing a Daytona and you wanted to be able to do that, quickly. You just have a bunch of different engines, you know, and that would be the quickest you could do it. Would be to pull a motor out, stick another one, and get rid of it. But this one, you can take the transmission out without even taking the engine out of the bike.
Great.
You know you enjoyed this video, so be sure to like, share, and subscribe. This has been a Zone Television and a Zone Television Media production.